After a conference championship round that resulted in the Rams and Bengals both winning by just 3 points, the Super Bowl matchup is finally set. Hello everyone and welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Carlos Garcia alongside Jude Wozniak and Joe Callahan. Tonight, we'll be recapping the championship weekend's games as well as discussing some of the storylines heading into Super Bowl 56. All right, gentlemen, after yet another weekend of NFL football that did not disappoint, our Super Bowl matchup is finally set and the Rams will technically host the Bengals at SoFi Stadium in 2 weeks. But first, let's look back at the paths taken by both teams to end up where they are right now. Joe, I'll start with you. What intrigued you about the Bengals and Chiefs game this weekend?
Well, listen, I'm all in on Joe Shiesty. You see the chain that he walked up with? Dropped the temperature in the stadium, man. But I could go into him. I'm going to go into Patrick Mahomes. He should have looked at the Packers last week. Jake from State Farm does not cover second half chokes, man. 55 yards, 8 completions, 2 interceptions. I mean, I'm looking right at him and blaming him for that loss.
Yeah, for me, I'm looking at this Rams game, and it's the third matchup between these two teams of the year, and the 49ers dominated them throughout the whole year, and Deebo Samuel has just been dominant in these games, averaging 273 yards all-purpose, so that's almost 140 yards per game, and he's had 3 touchdowns in total. That's just phenomenal from Deebo Samuel, but the Rams had the right blueprint in this game. They learned how to stop him, allowing less than 100 all-purpose yards. He did score a touchdown, but it was a big touchdown in the second quarter, 44 yards, and besides that, he really was a non-factor for the rest of the game. And I'm going to go into the Rams right now. Their defense was immaculate in stopping their whole offensive game. We know that Jimmy Garoppolo is a game manager, and they really exposed that right there. But for the offense, Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad, he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for getting that man out of Cleveland. I cannot believe how the talent wasted in Cleveland in Odell Beckham Jr. He's been phenomenal for this team, and they lost their first 2 games with Odell on the roster, but after that, 8-1, including playoffs, averaging 27 points per game when he is on the field for them. He's been phenomenal, but he's not even their best 2 offensive players. That'll be Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp. Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp seem to have the best connection in the NFL right now, and Cooper Kupp is averaging 130 yards and a touchdown per game in this playoffs so far. Just phenomenal. Matt Stafford in this game against the 49ers, 337 yards, 2 touchdowns, 69% completion percentage. What more can you ask for? He's played phenomenal. But even though they had all these great stats, they still should have lost this game. But they didn't because of that man right there, Jaquiski Tartt. I cannot believe you drop an interception that is an arm punt like that. In his hands, coming down, nothing easier probably in your career. Right through his hands, butterfingers. It's phenomenal that you drop a wide open pass like that. And that probably would have ended the game. Late in the fourth quarter, he drops that where they're up by 3. And instead, Stafford makes them pay, brings them down to a field goal. And eventually they win in the final minutes of this fourth quarter.
Yeah, there's no doubt that both of these teams right now, they're deserving of a spot in the Super Bowl, as you mentioned, dude. The acquisitions of Odell Beckham and Von Miller Jr. are the reason why they're in the spot right now. And then Joe Burrow, what can we say? Generational talent. He's the reason why the Bengals are in the Super Bowl right now. Now, I know everybody's eager for their stat predictions and Super Bowl final scores, but let's just focus strictly on players right now. So I'll start with you, Jude. What are some of the interesting storylines heading into the game surrounding coaches, players, and the teams?
Well, for me, in my honest opinion, I love the way that this game is set up. It's the battle of the 2 top receivers right now in the NFL. And no, Jamar Chase isn't a top 3 receiver in the NFL right now, but he's playing like one. Phenomenal football as of late, but the Chiefs proved on how to stop him. Put a safety above him and stop these 50-50 balls because as of late, it seems like instead of 50-50 balls, they're 90-10 balls. And he's catching almost all of them. And he's proven that you need to stop him or else you're going to lose. And on the Rams side, for Cooper Kupp, they need to just get him the ball and get more yak from him, yards after catch. And that's something that the Bengals need to stop because if you miss that first tackle on Cooper Kupp, he's getting you 15 to 30 plus yards each time because he's so fast, he's so physical, and he can break away at any time. So for these 2 teams to stop the receivers is inevitable for their victory. They need to do something about Cooper Kupp on the Bengals side, and for the Rams, they need to stop Jamar Chase. And I know they have these receivers in T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, but you need to be focusing on Jamar Chase first to be able to win this game.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and argue the level of skill that these teams have at receiver, but not a problem for the Rams, but the Bengals have given up 57 sacks this season coming into this game. I'm just hoping that Joe Burrow is going to get the ball off. I mean, when you come into this game and you have 57 sacks, 9 in the playoffs against the Titans, 4 against the Chiefs, I mean, logic would tell you that Leonard Floyd, Von Miller, and that big man, Aaron Donald, is going to feast. So I'm just looking for that O-line to step up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Bengals O-line, it's like a walking IR chart, right? It seems like they're replacing guys every week, and it seems like that Rams defense is really going to eat. So I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl. That's all we have for this edition of NFL Championship Weekend on Penn State Sports Night. For Joe Callahan and Jude Wozniak, I'm Carlos Garcia. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you are going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.